Okay, 3 lessons to go, and this one is about differential equations that are separable. You can kind of read that there. I've invented this acronym to help us remember how to solve this. So this left side is sissy and this right side is ski. So sissy ski, because there's a lot of steps to this process. You'll see this whole problem. I'm giving you the whole page to work on, and we have to kind of do it in a certain order. So first S is this is going to be the new part for us, is separate variables. And when we talk about separating variables, we're talking about getting x away from y, and we typically do it with multiplication and division. After we do that, we're going to integrate, then we're going to solve for y, and then we're going to solve for c. So that's why I want to keep those separate so you remember what to do first, and then we're going to write an equation as our final answer, which is, you'll probably remember that from earlier in our discussion about slope fields. So this is asking us to find an equation for this differential equation with this initial condition. Okay, you'll notice there's x and y in this equation, which is the first time we've seen that. So for the first time ever, we need to think of the dy and the dx as separable parts. So in order to separate them out, I'm actually going to multiply both sides by dx here. And so like an intermediate step there would be dy equals x squared minus 2 dx, still all over y. So we like the x squared minus 2 with the dx, but we want to get the y to the other side, so now we're going to multiply by y. And then we have our separated equation because the y's cancel on the right side, and the equation that we're solving is y dy equal to x squared minus 2 dx. So the first S, check, we did that. Now we're going to integrate both sides. So integral. The left side, I'm going to, of course, just do power rule, y squared over 2. Ordinarily, I would put plus c, but we only put it on the right-hand side. So when I integrate x squared minus 2, I'm going to get x cubed over 3 minus 2x, and then plus c. Only one plus c goes here. Okay, and it only goes on the right side with x. So typically we keep the y information on the left because eventually we're going to get y equals in that format, so that's why we put the x information on the right. All right, so integration, check, did that. Now we're going to move on and do solving for y. So I'm trying to figure out what this y equals. So to break that down, right, I'm going to multiply by 2 to get rid of the denominator. And this part is going to feel weird because I'm going to distribute the 2 only to these two terms. I'm not actually going to multiply it by the plus c because it's arbitrary, and until I plug in the initial condition, we don't really know what it is, so that's why that one does not change at all. And then square root both sides. So the general solution, don't forget the plus or minus, is 2/3 x cubed minus 4x plus c. So at this point I have solved for y. Okay, so you can kind of check that off. But now my job, if you look at the reminders, right, is to solve for c. So let's keep changing colors here. So in order to solve for c, I'm now going to input my initial condition. So remember, the -3 is x, and then the -2 is y. And since the y is a -2, I am going to write a negative square root with this plugging in of -3. If it was positive, I would just put a positive square root. Okay. Get all that in there, and then we have to, of course, work this out. So this is -2 equal to the negative square root. Let's see, that's -27 by 3, -9. So this, I think, is -18 plus 12 plus c. So keep writing. This ends up being -6 plus c. And now, in order to solve for c, that's my last thing to do, I'm going to keep on with my algebra. Divide both sides by -1 to clear out the negative. 2 is equal to the square root of -6 plus c. Square both sides to clear the square root. Finally, add 6. So the c value is 10. And then remember that that only checks off the solving for c. I have to now formally write my answer in a equation format. So it's y equal to, again, I'm putting negative in front of my square root sign because the y value in the initial condition was negative. And then everything else in the format that I had from my general solution here. Now the only difference is here I have my plus 10 included, and this guy is my answer. So that went pretty fast, but like I said, try to remember that whole sissy ski idea of what I did along the way. Okay, wrote a final equation last. Alright, not too bad. Let's do just one more tonight, and then that will be it for this. And there's plenty of other problems here, but we're just gonna do 2 as an introduction to this concept. So it's asking me to do the same thing. Of course, I have a different differential equation, and it tells me that that function passes through 4, 3. It's just a different way of presenting the ideas. One convention here when we look at separating these variables, right, which is what comes first, is to keep any constants with x. So I'm kind of thinking of this in this way when I go to separate it. All right, I'll multiply everything by dx to clear that out over here. So I like this part, and then I'm going to multiply both sides by y to clear that out there. And now I've got a separated equation that I can go ahead and solve. So this one should be pretty quote-unquote easy from here on out. Integrate both sides. That's step 2. This is y squared over 2 equal to negative x squared over 4. The plus c, remember, only goes on the right-hand side. Need more colors. Let's do orange. 3 is to solve for y. So again, I'm solving for this y. It's going to kind of look like the last problem. Multiply everything by 2. I've got y squared equal to negative 1/2 x squared plus c. Don't change the plus c, and then square root. So here is my, what is this called? My general solution. And now I got to solve for c. And in order to do that, I got to use the initial condition. So going back up to the top, I have 4, 3 is my y value. Since that's positive, I'm going to use positive square root here. 4. And then this becomes, what, 16 over 2, negative 8 plus c. So now I can square both sides. So I get 9 equal to negative 8 plus c. Add 8 to both sides. 17 is c. And then the last step is to write it as an equation. So what do I get here? Y equal, I'll use the positive square root, negative 1/2 x squared plus 17. Since my 3 at the very top was positive, I'm using the positive square root for my final answer in number 5. The end.